Now we are learning the types of exception handling. So if we talk about their types, the first type we are having is unstructured exception handling. If we talk about unstructured exception handling, here user try to handle the exception by its own. Let's suppose user is providing some if-else statement, it is providing some kind of go-to statement. So here user itself write the code for exception handling. This is called unstructured exception handling. In the unstructured exception handling, we are not taking the advantage of try-catch block or any of the block which is provided by the .NET. .NET has its own method to handle the exception. When we are not using that method and trying to handle the exception by our own code, that is called the unstructured exception handling. And here we are having one popular code which is own error goto statement. Own error goto statement is used for the unstructured exception handling. Here, whenever the error encounter, we are going to a certain portion and we handle that exception. The next type of exception is structured exception handling. .NET is having its inbuilt feature which is try-catch block. With the help of that, we can handle the exception. .NET already having the exception handling technique inbuilt. When we are using that technique, this is called structured exception handling. So whenever we are using the inbuilt code for handling the exception which is provided by the .NET, that is called structured exception handling. And here we are having the popular block which is called try-catch block. In the try-catch block, we are having the two blocks. One is the try and second one is catch. Let us suppose that we are having some kind of code in which exception can encounter. Just like we know that whenever we write C is equal to A divided by B, and we know that in A divided by B, user can provide the value of B as 0. So this code we are going to provide into the try block. Try means we are going to scan it. So try block will scan that. And if any of the exception encounter during the execution, at that time, try block will scan the exception and afterward it will just throw that exception to the catch block. Catch block will catch the exception and provide some specific result for that. Let us suppose that whenever the exception encounter, we are demanding the value of B again. So here we can provide that code where we are going to demanding the value of B again. So catch is going to catch that. This is just like the cricket match. Whenever in the cricket we are going to play the cricket, at that time, first of all we provide the try ball. Try ball we provide to check what is the capability of other player who is the batsman. Similarly here we are going to provide the try block. In this try block, we are putting those statements on which we want to perform the check. And if the exception encounter, catch is going to catch it and it will not go into the code or the undefined state. So this is how the try-catch block work. Here the catch block is the dependent block. It is not necessary that catch block will work. Whenever the program is perfectly working, there is no exception. At that time, catch block will not execute because there will be no exception coming to the try and it will not throw any exception. So catch block will not work. But let us suppose that in the try block, some of the exception comes. Now, in that case, catch block will work and just handle that exception. So this is how it is the inbuilt feature of the .NET, which is try-catch block. In the try-catch, we are having one more block which is finally. Finally block is the independent block. It will always work. Either the exception encounter or not. Both the ways finally is going to work. That's why it is the name finally. It is the final one which come always at the last. Let us suppose that your program is working fine. At that time you want to provide some instruction. Or your program is not working fine, you want to provide the same instruction, then you can provide them into the finally block. Let's say you want to provide some guidelines to the user, so that you can put into the finally block. So here the try catch block is the combination of three blocks. One is the try block. In the try block, you are going to put the code where exception can come. Or you can simply write the complete code in the try block, no problem. Afterward is the catch block. Catch block is dependent upon the try. If exception come, then it will work. If exception not come, then it will not work. Because if the exception is not coming, then there is no purpose of running the catch block. Then afterward is the finally block. This is going to provide some kind of instructions. So this is the structured exception handling. Now we are learning the syntax of try catch block. So this is the syntax of try catch block. Here we are having the first try block. After that we are going to provide some set of lines on which we want that with the exception should be checked. Let us suppose that we have used A divided by B. So we are going to provide it here. Now afterward here we can see that two catch are applied. Well, if I want that there are different exceptions and I want to treat different exception different ways, then we are providing multiple catch blocks. We know that in a program multiple exception can come, just like in a program it can be divided by 0, it can be array out of bound, it can be null reference exception. So for the different exception, I want to provide different code. So here all the code we will provide into the try block. And afterward, let us suppose that the first way I am handling the array out of bound. So I will provide the code for that. This is the first handling. Let us suppose that for divide by 0, I am using here in the second catch. So this way we can provide multiple catch. Now afterward we are having is the finally. We know that finally is the independent block that will for sure work. Even the exception is encountered or not, the finally block will for sure work. Then afterward at the end we are having and try. So try is ending with the and try. So this is the structured exception handling mechanism using the try catch and finally block. So here we should understand one thing, that code in which exception can encounter, that code will be provided into the try. And if exception encounter, now there are multiple catches. It can go to catch 1 or the catch 2 depending upon the type of exception. If the exception is, let's say, array out of bound, it will be going to the first. If it is the, let's say, divide by 0, it will be going to the second. And if no exception is coming, it will be not going into any of the catch. So catch is the dependent. And then in the finally block, we are going to provide the fixed things. Those things we want that even exception come or not should work. So this is how this try, catch and finally block work. Now we are learning that what are the ways of handling exception when we are doing the code. If we talk about the ways of handling exception, the first way is the using system defined exception. We can use the system exception in further two categories. The first one is implicit and second one is explicit. To understand that, we are taking an example here. Let us suppose we are having three things here. One is the exception, second one is the system, and the third one is user. If we are writing that, let us suppose A divided by B. Now in this A divided by B, if we are dividing any number, let's say 4 divided by 0. This is divide by 0 exception. System knows that it is an exception and user also knows this is an exception. We are taking one more example here. Let us suppose that there is an array which is available. Now there are two indexes in the array, 0 and 1. And if we are trying to access A3, this is not possible. This is the exception. System knows that it is the exception and user also know it is the exception. So such exception which system knows as well as user knows, these are called the implicit exception, and such exceptions are thrown by .NET automatically. So such exceptions which user knows as well as system knows that these are the exception, these are called the implicit exceptions, and these are handled automatically by the system. Let us suppose we are taking few more examples. If we are saying that a user has to enter marks only less than 100, now for the user it can be exception. Just like if I am giving the exam which is of 100 marks. Now the marks can be less than equal to 100 only. It cannot be more than that. This is exception for me, I am a user. But for the system it is not an exception. System says that you enter even 1000, 20,000 or 4,000. It doesn't happen to the system. So this is not the exception for system. We are taking one more example here. Let us suppose in your ID card, as per your company, it is mentioned that your name should be into capital letters only. Let's say you have to provide the capital letters. Now, such case, it is the exception for the user. Maybe if you are providing the first letter capital and other into small, so it is the exception for you if you are a user. But for the system, it is not an exception, because for the system, you provide all the small values, all or the capital values, or even first small, then capital, then small, zigzag manner. System don't have any problem. So this is again an example. So such type of exceptions, which are exceptions for the user, but not for the system, these are called the explicit exceptions. Because here, system will not deal with that. If you are making a program and you want that, in the program, if the marks are more than 100, system should handle it. System is not going to handle. Or if you are making that, let us suppose in your ID card, the name should be into capital letter and you are providing small. System is not going to handle that. You have to provide the code explicitly for that. That's why they are called the explicit exception handling. And here we use the keyword which is called throw. So with the help of this throw keyword, we handle the exceptions which are created by the user explicitly. So the exceptions which are for the system, that means system knows that these are the exception, these are implicit, that means these are handled by the .NET exception handling automatically, and it is automatically worked. But some exception which system don't know, just like marks more than 100, or maybe the capital letter, or any other exception which user want. These are called the explicit, and for that we use throw keyword. So that means we have to write the code for that explicitly, and with the help of this throw keyword, we can throw the exception. Then there is second way of handling the exception, which is called the customized or user-defined exception. We know that there are so many system-defined exceptions, just like index out of range exception, null reference exception, argument exception, arithmetic exception. These all are the part of system exception. But let's say I don't want to use any of these names. I want that my name, which is Ankit, should be provided the powers that I can handle the exception. I don't want to use the system names, just like exception, index out of range. I don't want to use that. I want to use my name, create my object, just like catch ex as Ankit. So use my name. So this is called the customized or user-defined exception. So here in the .NET, we can even use our name for creating the exceptions, which is called the customized or user-defined exception. So that is all about the exception handling.